you're ready to get started with budgeting, this video is for you. Today I'm going to show you how you can budget in a spreadsheet. Hey guys, I'm Marissa and welcome back to my channel. Here I talk all about budgeting and how you can enjoy life and accomplish financial goals through the use of a budget. Today I'm going to walk you through how you can budget in Excel or any kind of spreadsheet platform that you're wanting to use. I have this spreadsheet available for sale on my shop. I will have a link to it down below, and this is the tutorial of how to use this spreadsheet. It's an instant download. It works in Excel, Google Sheets, and it's just a one-time purchase, and it gets to be your template for forever. So you can check that out with the link in the description box down below. When working through this budget template today, I'm going to be using it in Excel, but if you're wanting to use this in Google Sheets, I will leave a little note down in the description box below that just is a quick little brief of how to download it and have it upload into Google Sheets and have all the formulas populate. So you can check that out there. First thing I want to bring your attention to is this instructions tab. This gives you a link to the tutorial, which you're watching right now, as well as some other key factors that are important to note as you are working on your budget. Now, I have a lot of people who've used this template who are not super spreadsheet savvy, and that's okay, but I would say that you at least need to know how to open a spreadsheet, how to input some numbers in there. You have to have some sort of basis of working in a spreadsheet to probably make this make sense for you. I always tell people to budget using the platform that is going to be easiest for you, whether that is paper and pencil, a spreadsheet, or an app. So I know that the spreadsheet isn't everyone's cup of tea, and that's okay. But if you want to get started with using this budget template spreadsheet, my advice is that you're already somewhat comfortable with working in a spreadsheet type of platform. And also, this template is not financial advice, and it's up to the user to make sure everything is input correctly. So let's take a look at that template tab. You will see this entire budget spreadsheet as well as the net worth section, and then on the side you will see an area for you to record your transactions. So first I'm going to walk through entering things into the budget, and then we'll walk through entering some transactions here. So first things first, budget. This is a zero-based budget, which means all of your income should equal all of your money out, including your expenses, debt, and savings. So let's start with the income first. So here you can rename these categories. So I could say Marissa, and then my husband Jacob, and I could record what each of us brings home for the month. Or I could say paycheck 1 and paycheck 2, if that makes more sense to you. I am all for creating your budget that's going to be the easiest for you to keep going with it. So whatever makes the most sense for you, just do that. And we're not sticklers here. So I'm going to change this back to Marissa and Jacob because that's what we like to do. Oh, put a little too many S's here in my name. And Jacob. Okay, so then you could just put a budgeted amount. I'm just going to enter in some numbers here for fun. 2,000 and 4,000 here. So then it's showing you the total income is going to be $6,000. So when you're making your budget, this is how much money you have to work with. Now this video is simply a tutorial of how to use this budget spreadsheet. If you want to learn more about budgeting or maybe how to budget off of your certain income, I have a whole playlist about that. I will leave a link to that up above here and you can check that out. But I'm just going to be throwing some rough numbers on the page here, so don't take any of this to heart as to how much you should budget for each of these categories. This is just putting numbers to a page. Okay, let's say 600. I know our mortgage is 2,200. 95 here. 50. Let's just keep going. 50, 100, 100. So when you're entering in these numbers here in the budget column, this is what you are planning to spend in the month. So I've already populated some categories for you. There are some additional expense categories. These are just extra lines that you can add to if you have other categories that you want to add in your spreadsheet that makes sense for you personally. One thing that you may want to add is daycare, or maybe you have different subscriptions and you want to keep track of each subscription individually. So Hulu and Netflix, and then every month that comes out, then you can allocate that to each budget line item. So I'm just going to keep going down the line, entering some numbers here. Always have to have a miscellaneous. I'll just add to this. But if you want to add more line items here, here's what you do. You need to go to the line right above the total. So that would be here, expense 4, and go over to the number on the far left. Click that number. It's going to highlight the entire row. Then you can right click and click on insert. And this is going to insert a row above the line that you just clicked on. And the reason why you need to do that before the very last line is because it continues on with this formula here. It's not going to get messed up. So if you're not super 100% like confident or like really skilled in Excel, just do this so that the formula here doesn't get messed up. If you were to enter a line under the last one, it won't pull that last line total into that sum formula. So I don't want that to get messed up for you. So always just, if you have to enter an extra line, do it somewhere in the middle. Don't do it at the very end. Don't do it as like the last line, if that makes sense. And then here you can see that these other formulas, because we added an extra line, did not come down. So here's what you do. We highlight these two cells. I just clicked on this cell and then I pushed down and I dragged it over. You can see this little box at the bottom right. I then click on that and drag it down. And then it drags down all of those same formulas. So the formula that was in here is now going to be the same that is here. Okay, so that is how you add in an extra line here. The next thing that I want to show you is the debt section. This is where you can record all of your debts that you have that you're working on paying off. I personally like to keep my mortgage up in the expense section because we're not working on paying this off aggressively right now. We're just paying our minimum payment. But if you are working on paying off student loans, you have a car loan, like all of that kind of debt, I would recommend keeping it down here in the debt section. So you can relabel this. You can say student loan, and then car, credit card, like whatever that's, we're having trouble typing today. Credit card, whatever these debts are that you may have. I personally also, when we were working on paying off debt, I liked to add in my debts in the order that I was working on paying them off. You could use the debt snowball or the debt avalanche to work on paying off debt. I will leave a link to a video talking about those two differences up above here, and you can check that out. But whatever method you're using to pay off your debt, and you probably have an order that you're planning to pay them off, I just like to list them that way so that I just see that a little bit easier. So here in the budget column, I am putting how much we're putting to the student loan. Like basically what is the minimum payment, or what are we putting to the loan that month. So let's say 400, and the car is 500, and the credit card is 50. So this is what, again, the budget is what I'm planning to spend, planning to put towards debt, planning to save for the month. This is just another place for you to track your debt as you're working on paying this off. So like the interest rate for yourself, you can put in like the interest rate, if that's going to be, 5%. It's already formatted in the percent for you. And this car maybe is at 2.5, and the credit card is 22. And then beginning balance. This is what the balance is of your debt at the beginning of the month. And side note, the beginning balance of this month should be the ending balance of last month. So the beginning balance for February should have been the ending balance for January. So this is a really easy thing that you can just copy and paste over from last month into this month. So beginning balance for the student loan, we'll say is $10,000. And then we have the car at $5,000 and the credit card at $1,000. Okay. So then, again, these are not the order that you want to pay them off, but I'm just jotting down numbers for fun here. And then at the end of the month, this is where you can then enter in your ending balance so that you can track the progress that you're making towards your loan. So this is just, again, something that you can enter in there. And then again, what is the ending balance for this month should be the beginning balance for next month. Okay, so let's say now you have only 3 debts, but there's a lot of debt information here, and you don't want to have these rows. What you can do is come over to this row, so it's where it's at debt 4, that's at line 28. So I'm going to click on line 28, and I'm going to drag down until I get to the last row that I'm wanting to get rid of. So I have all of this highlighted. I then come back over here, I right click, and then I hit delete. And that deletes all of the other cells so that then we don't have a bunch of extra rows that we're not using. Okay, now let's look at the savings section of the budget. So I want you to pay attention to these 3 columns: the budget, the actual, and the spent. You can see a plus on the budget, a plus on the actual, and a minus on the spent. This column is for what you budget, what you're planning to put into this savings account or the sinking fund. And this is what you actually put into it. This is the money that's spent out of it. I love using sinking funds and savings in our budget because it can roll over month over month. And so every month in this section of our budget, you'll see money being added to funds and also money being taken out. So this is where you can record that. So for example, let's say that you're putting $200 to the emergency fund, but then you have a savings fund for vacation, and then you have one for kids, you know, because kids can be expensive, and then house maintenance. Okay, so let's say the kids of vacation, you put, you know, $50 into your vacation fund. The kids, we're gonna put $200 into the kids fund. I have kids, we have to pay for diapers and clothing, things like that. Okay, and then the house maintenance, it will do $300 towards house maintenance. Okay, so this is what we are planning to put into this fund. Now, at the end of the month, I'm gonna show you how to enter in your actuals. We'll do that, but for right now, I'll just enter in some numbers here to show you how this section works in the template. But at the end of the month, let's put in like our actuals. So we actually put in 200, we actually put in 50, we actually put in 200, and we actually put in 350 in house maintenance. So these are all what we actually added into these funds. The spent is what we took out of it. So we didn't have to use anything from the emergency fund. We didn't take a vacation. The kids, we had to buy some clothing for. So we're going to spend money on kids. I'm going to enter this in as a minus because, again, this spent column is reminding you that you need to enter it in as a negative. We spent from this fund $50. Okay? So the beginning balance, which again, the beginning balance of this month should be the ending balance of the previous month. The beginning balance of February should be the ending balance of January. So let's, we can say that we started off at 0 for all of these funds. Just do that real quick. So if the beginning balance was 0, we added 200 to it and we spent 50. So this ending balance column here is actually doing this calculation for you. So it is taking what you actually put into the fund, taking out what you spent, and also adding in that beginning balance to track it. So our ending balance calculated for us that we now have $150 left in this fund because we added 200 and we spent 50. So that's how this whole section works for savings. So you'll need to, manually input that beginning balance for the savings section, but the ending balance is automatically updated for you. You just need to make sure that the budget and the actual are positive numbers that are being, this is money that's allocated from your income that is going towards your savings. That's what you're putting into the savings. And the spent is a minus. This is what's being taken out of that fund. So when you do so, then the ending balance column will update for you. So I'm going to delete out this for right now. The last thing that I want to show you is that there is a difference right here that says difference should be 0, and right here this shows a $405 balance. So like I said at the beginning, this is a zero-based budget. So all of your income should equal all of your money out between your expenses, debt, and savings. So this total out is taking the total of the expenses, debt, and savings. And as you can see, this cell is showing that we have $405 left to allocate, which is great. And in this case, I like to put money towards the big financial goal that I'm working on. So, I would just put it maybe to the student loan if that's what this goal is. So $805. And then you can see that the difference is 0, which means there's a zero-based budget. Okay, now let's say that you are debt-free. You don't have debt, so you don't even need this section. So let's delete the entire section. Like I've showed you before, you just want to start with clicking on the starting row that you want to get rid of, and then click over on the number and drag it down, and then right click and delete that section, which is great because you now don't have that section, but there's now this weird formula error. It says ref. So double click into here, and you can also see it up on the top here. The formula bar will show you the reference, and you can also edit it down here as well. So I can edit it up in the formula bar, but where you see this gibberish where it says ref, delete out that whole thing. So we're just going to back it up until it just shows like one number plus another number. We'll hit enter. and then that's fixed for you. And then same thing with the next one over. Here, I'll do this. I'll fix it here in the cell. Again, we do the same thing. We're just going to delete that out until we get to one number plus the other number equals, and then it's fixed. So if you only have expenses and savings, that's how that's fixed for you. And then here we go. This difference should be 0, got updated if we didn't have any debt. So maybe to the emergency fund, we'd put $15.55 instead. And there we have our zero-based budget. Okay, so let's talk about recording expenses in your budget. So in this section, this is where you can record things. I like to enter in the date. So on February 1st, the category was groceries, and the vendor was Fred Meyer, which is like our Kroger here. And the amount I spent, I like to enter this in, I like to put this in as a negative so I can see like negative is what I spent, and then positive numbers are money that came in. So let's say we spent $50, and then the account, I could just say it came from my checking, or, you know, if you have different credit cards or whatever you want to use there. Okay, and then let's say February 2nd, we got gas at Costco, and it was $40, and I used my credit card. So this is just for you to be able to track this. I've done a whole video showing how I update my budget in real time. I will leave a link to that up above and you can check it out. But I like to sit down once a week and enter in all of my transactions and update them into the spreadsheet here. I'm gonna enter in a few more transactions so that you guys can then see how we input actual. So be right back. So when you record all of your transactions, you'll want to update your actuals column to see how your spending is going during the month. So you record all of your transactions here, and then you head up to the top row. You can see these little drop down arrows. So you can sort by category. So click on this drop down arrow, and then you will see all of the different categories that you've input. Click this select all to deselect them, and then just pick the category that you're wanting to see. So we picked groceries, and so it now eliminated all the others, and it's only showing us things that are groceries. So I'm going to find what this grand total is. I'm going to highlight these three. Oh, and actually, I guess you can't see this in my screen here. I realized that my screen wasn't recording everything down here in the spreadsheet, but when you highlight these three, I'll do it again. When you highlight these three, down here at the bottom, it'll show you the sum is 175. So that is how much I need to add into my groceries actuals for right now, 175. So this is a really easy way for you to do this. I will leave a link to a video up above here, which is more of an advanced version of doing this to kind of have it input more automatically, but you definitely need to have a little bit more experience with Excel to be able to do this. That's how I record my transactions. It makes it really easy, but you can mess up things also very easily. So if you aren't super comfortable in a spreadsheet, I'd recommend probably just doing it this way. Just once a week, go through, enter in your transactions, and sort by each category, and you can enter those into your actuals column. I also want to show you this net worth section really quickly. This is where you can track your net worth, which is made up of your assets, the things you own, minus your liabilities or the things that you owe on. So this is just a place for you to record what the balance was at the beginning for these things and what the balance is at the end of the month. I like being able to watch our net worth go up every month, hopefully. Not every month, but hopefully. So you can rename these to how you'd like as well. And then you can input like here what you put into this investment or what you put into cash for the month. And then what you budgeted to put in, what you actually put in, and then the beginning balance for that asset or liability, and what the ending balance was for the month. So this is just a little section for you to be able to record those things. The last thing I want to show you is that you can duplicate this template to use for next month. So you can go down to this template tab, right click, and you can click on move or copy. And then you can click this little button that says create a copy, and you can choose where you want it to go. I'd say move to end, and it'll be a template. So I like to rename this by the month. I just double clicked here, and then I can say February 2022, or what is it? What year is it? 2023. I actually would recommend doing this before you enter in all of your information, because then you're gonna have to go through and delete it out. But if you have a budget that a lot of things are standard each month, then you can kind of make like a basic budget and then copy it over for the next month so that you have a lot of these same things filled out. But remember, every month is different for your finances, so make sure that you are looking at your budget for next month and adjusting your budget accordingly to how you're planning for the month to actually go. But here you have a copy for your next month, and then you can keep going from there. So that is a little tutorial of how to use this budget template. I hope that this is helpful for you. Hopefully it'll be a helpful resource as you're working on your financial goals. Remember that you can enjoy life and accomplish financial goals through the use of a budget, and I am here to help you along with every step of the way. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel where I share lots of budgeting content here. And again, I will leave a link to this budgeting template in the description box below, and you can get that as an instant download. It's super affordable, so you can check that out there. Thank you so much for your support if you did purchase the template, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye.
About to leave already.